Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Peck with Mazévo Software. I've put this little video together here for you to show some common scheduling situations you may run into if your job is to schedule meetings and events at your organization. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to cover here. I've put together 3 common scheduling scenarios for you that you'll probably run into. First is how to schedule a simple single day time meeting. Then how to schedule something a little more involved, like a recurring meeting that happens every week. And the third one is how to review and approve events. So think of these as requests that come in for the space that you use there. So I'm going to go ahead and share my browser with you so we can just kind of look at the software together. Bring it up. All right, so I'm using Google Chrome as my browser. This Mazévo will work with any modern browser. So it doesn't matter if you're on Safari, Firefox, Edge, they all work. And you can be on a Mac or a PC, doesn't really matter. So this is what you'll see when you log into Mazévo for the first time. You're going to see a screen that looks pretty similar to this. These are just the different options and things that you can do here. We're only going to focus on a couple of these tools here today. The first one we're going to go into is this one here called the event book. And what this does, this gives you a look at your facilities that you're scheduling. So in my case here, I'm looking at a building that I manage called the Student Center, and it's just all of its rooms are listed down the left-hand side here. And then anytime something's scheduled, it puts a colored bar in here. So you can just quickly see at a glance what you have going on in all of your different space. As you're looking at this, if you want to get some additional information here, I can hover over each of these events and I can get some more details like who's using the space, who the contact is, dates, times, things like that. So pretty easy to see what's going on there. The color coding just represents different statuses for the event. So in my case, most of the things that are in green, those are all confirmed. Anything else that's in orange is a request, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But if I want to go ahead and schedule something here, maybe I just want to use one of the rooms for my own meeting, or somebody wants to schedule one of these rooms with me, I'm just going to go ahead and I can click in this grid and just schedule something right from here. So if somebody wants to use, let's say, conference room 1 here at 2 o'clock, I can see, okay, it's available at 2 o'clock. I can just click on it with my mouse, and it just gives me a little form to fill out here. So let's say they're going to need the room from 2 to 4. And then I can indicate, well, who's this for here? And I'm going to say this is for the music department. So I can just start typing in a name, and if they're already in the system, there they are. I put who the contact is. I'm just going to do this one for myself. So my name's right here. Just select that. You can also put in for how many people as well. That's optional. You don't have to. Then we hit next here, and now we're just going to give it a name. So this is the music department meeting. This event type, this is just a way to classify the event. This is good for reporting purposes later if you want to know, how many meetings did we have versus lectures or conferences, something like that. But those are the 2 main things you need. Then you can indicate the status if you want. Is it confirmed or tentative, something? Usually you're just going to leave it at confirmed. And all of the rest of this is all optional. So billing comes into play if you're renting out the space and you're going to put some charges on here and things like that. Or you can do a room setup if you want the room set up in a certain fashion. If you don't do that for your spaces, then you just leave it alone. But then we just go ahead and we hit save right there, and that's it. We've just scheduled the room now for this music department meeting. Notice it puts a colored bar in there, and you're good to go. So that's how you schedule a 1 day, 1 date time meeting like that. If you want to do something a little more involved, like something that happens every week, then in that case, we'll just go back to the event menu here, and very first option, add new event. So you can schedule one-time meetings through here as well, but the idea with this is maybe you're going to schedule something here that happens every week. So I'm just going to go in, and first off, we're going to start off with who's this for. So in this case here, we're going to use admissions as our customer here. So I'm just going to use admissions, and the contact here, I'll this time we'll say it's for Claire, and number of people. This is going to be for 10 people here. Just hit next. Now we're going to pick our dates and times. So I know this is going to be a 9 a.m. meeting, and it's going to go till, let's say 10:30. And then we pick our dates and times. Now, if this is something that happens regularly for like the entire semester or term or something like that, you can pick, every week or every other week, once a month, first Friday of the month, or, something like that. So it accommodates all of those types of patterns. You can also simply just come here and just pick dates on the calendar. So if this is something I want to schedule for every Friday this month, I can just pick those 4 Fridays right here. So it's that easy. You can just pick any dates you want on the calendar and add those in. We'll just go with these 4 Fridays right here for our example. We'll hit next. Now in this case here, it's going to give me a list of rooms now. So what it's done is, again, I'm looking at the student center, but I can schedule other buildings as well if I have that option. And in this case here, I've got, these are all different rooms that I can have on these Fridays. So if I see the room that I'm looking for, we're going to use this room 130 in this case. I can go ahead and just select it right here. It is going to ask me if I want the room to be set up in a certain way. Again, that may or may not apply for the facilities that you deal with, but if you want to pick one of those, you can. I'll just go ahead and choose classroom style here. And you can put some special notes in too if you want to put a note in. If somebody's going to be setting up the room and you're like, hey, can you put a podium at the front of the room, or put a table at the back for handouts or something, you can put that in if that applies. So just do that. Picked my room now. We just hit next. And we give it an event name again. So this one, we're just call it the admissions meeting here. Again, put meeting in. Again, just like we saw before, these are all the same kind of fields we saw earlier. If you're not needing any of these things, they're all optional. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit book room. And at this point, I've gone ahead and now I've booked this meeting for these 4 dates. And I'm essentially done at this point. There's really nothing else I need to do. But this is showing me a summary. This is a summary of what I've just put into the system. So I've got these 4 dates, these 4 Fridays scheduled from 9 to 10:30. The room setups here, what room, all of that. The one thing I will mention about this screen is this is, we're going to see this again here in a second, but this is where you come if you need to make changes to things. So let's say something happens and you find out, oh, on the 17th, we're going to need to change the time on this meeting. We're going to start a half an hour later than we usually do. You can make those changes right from here. So all I do for that is I just click the box. That's why these little boxes are here next to these things. So you just click the ones that you want to change, and there's a little change bookings menu up here. So we're just going to change the time on this one just to show you how it works. So we're just going to say the new start time is at 9:30 here till 11, and we just hit save, and it adjusts the time on just that one booking. So really easy to make those kinds of changes when you need to, things like that. But yeah, that's essentially all we need to do here. One other thing before I leave this screen that I'll mention is resources. So Mazévo has the ability, in addition to scheduling the rooms, you can also schedule equipment for these meetings and events that you're scheduling, if that applies. So in this case here, let's go ahead and say I want to add some extra tables or chairs or something to this meeting. I can do that. Again, I use these check boxes. This time I'm going to check them all. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to add things to all 4 of these. And there's a button right here, add resources. So we just click on that. I'm going to notice I've got a list of different types of things that I can add on. So I'm going to use facilities here as my option. And here I've got all kinds of different things that I can add. What I want to do is add a couple of 8-foot tables. And I want those at the front of the room for handouts, so I'm putting a little note in there. I just hit add, and that's it. I've just added now, and it's showing me here that I've just added those 2 tables onto all 4 of those dates. And again, I can add other stuff or what have you, but that's how you can add resources on. Okay, so we've looked at how you schedule a simple one-time meeting from the book. We've also looked at how you schedule something a little more complex, like, a meeting that happens every week. Let's talk about now requests and approvals for your spaces. So you may manage certain spaces for your department, and people may be requesting to use those spaces from you. Mazévo will allow you to manage that process as well. And typically what's going to happen is somebody's going to put a request through the system, and you're going to get notified when they request one of your rooms. You'll get an email is what'll happen. So an email come in, somebody's put a request in for your rooms. The other place you'll know about those requests, let's just go back to that main menu. This is what we saw earlier. There's an option here called Day at a Glance. Think of this as kind of like a dashboard, or it's just all the requests that have come in. So I can just click on this Day at a Glance right here, and it's going to show me a screen here of all the requests that have been submitted. So you can see in my case, I've got 3 requests that are sitting out here. Let's go ahead and look at one of these. So this is just showing me that the requests are going to come in the order that they were submitted. So the oldest ones are always up on top, newest ones are at the bottom. So I'm going to click on this summer outreach planning here. And when I open it up, this is the same screen we were looking at before. So I can see here, this is summer outreach planning. I can see who submitted it. I can see the dates and times that they submitted here. One other thing I'll point out to you is notice there's under the services, there's a little icon, looks like a projector. That tells me that they've requested some services with this as well. So I can kind of see everything at a glance. I know what room they want, the times, things like that. If I want to see what audio visual they've requested, I go over to resources here and I can see, okay, they want a microphone for this. So I can see all of that. Notice there's these other little tabs, and some of them have numbers next to them. I'm not going to go into all of these right now because some may apply to how you do scheduling, some may not. But the one I will focus on here is this event questions. It's got a little 2 next to it. So when this request was submitted, there were a couple of questions that the person who made the request had to answer. So they said, hey, are you going to need any help with the AV equipment? They said no. Any additional room setup needs? No. Okay, so you'll always be able to refer back to that. If we look here back at the list of bookings, I can see, okay, these are the 3 bookings, but before I approve this, I may want to go, well, what else do I have going on these 3 days? So there's a little button right here. It says view an event book. I can click that, and it's going to open a new tab in my browser here, and it's going to bring me into the book on the day of that request. So in this case here, it's going out to February 13th. That's what we're seeing. And multipurpose room C, the summer outreach planning, you can see it's got the orange bar in there. These bars on the front and beginning, I don't think I mentioned that earlier, those are setup and teardown time. So you can have the system automatically add some buffer time on there for setup and teardown if you'd like. But in this case here, I can see, okay, this is everything going on this day. I'm not that busy, not a big deal. Looks like no problem here for that. So that's how I can go into each of these and kind of look and see, you know, what else is going on. And I would do that for this one and this one too. But for in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to approve the event. And to do that, we're just going to change its status. Over here, it says it's in a request mode right now, request status. So to approve it, I'm going to change this to confirmed. And to do that, there's a big button right here. Are we going to approve this request? And notice I can deny it too, but I'm just going to hit approve. Let's hit approve, change its status to confirmed here, and I hit save. And that's it. I've just confirmed this request. There's nothing else I really need to do with it here. Usually though, before you finish things, you can let the person who submitted the request know that you've approved it. Now that can happen automatically. So if you've got the system set up in a way where it just, you approve it, it'll just automatically send the person an email, says your request has been approved. Some people like that to be automatic. Some people like to actually send them a confirmation email. And let's click on this. There's a button right here. It says email. What this is going to do, it's going to generate a document that you can send to the person who made the request with all of their details that you approved on it. And this is what that document looks like. So it's just got, and you can put your logo up here and brand it with your colors. So it will, you know, can be branded that way. But these are all the details that you've approved. So it's just got everything on there. So the person can see, okay, this is what I requested. Shouldn't be any questions about that. But the reason some people like to send this out more manually instead of having it automatically go out is there's a send button right up here at the top. So I can just hit send. And you can type a message in here. So, you know, maybe you made a little change, you know, hey, I had to put you in a different room on one of these days or something like that. Or you just want to say, you know, thank you. You know, you can type out some kind of personalized message that way. We also allow you to save messages that you use quite a bit here. So under messages, if I use this, I've got a confirmation message saved, I can just select that and notice it puts some text in there for me. So if you're constantly typing out the same things all the time, you can add some of your own text and just save that. So anyways, and then down here is the person or people that you're going to be sending this to, and it will automatically put in the person's email for you, so you don't need to look that up or do anything. But if there's other people that you want to copy on this, you know, maybe other people associated with the department that's scheduled, or somebody internally that you want to send this to so they know what's going on, you can do that. You just add their emails in here or select them from the list. But either way, we just go ahead and we hit send, and that's how you send the confirmation off to them that way. So so that's how you let them know that everything's been confirmed at that point. So anyways, those are the main things I wanted to show you. Mazévo is capable of doing a lot of other things in addition to what I've shown you here today, but I wanted to just show you some of the most common things that you'll probably be doing in the system on a regular basis. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions on any of this stuff or want to do a deeper dive on any of these things. We'd be happy to help. But anyways, thanks a lot.